Hi everyone, I'm Paulette Morrissey from Tulip Square, and you're going to have to bear with me because today is a Monday and my brain is still on Monday or Sunday or Saturday or something. I'm going to show you a video today on something that we've had a few requests for. I did a couple videos on quilt-as-you-go techniques. One where I showed you how you can sew stripes or squares or whatever together so that your piece is done and it's got the backing already on it, it's got the batting already in it, and the quilting is already done. And I showed you one on straight things and I showed you one on log cabin squares. And if you need to see those or you need to know how to do that, there is a listing. They're listed in the description below, okay? But what I'm gonna do is show you how we connect those together. That's what we've had some people asking for. How do you connect them once you've got all these squares that are done? So this will work with any technique that gives you finished squares. So what I did is I just took this piece that I did the quilt-as-you-go strips and I just cut it into 4 pieces so I can show you a real easy way to do this. So I'm just going to take this and let's say I just turned this one and turned this one, and I was going to put these back together to make a little pillow or whatever. Okay, so what you're going to need is, and regardless of what size blocks you're working on, you're going to need 1-inch strips of fabric for the back of it, and you're going to need 1.5 inch strips for the front. And the front, you're going to take them, fold it in half and press it. So they're basically 3/4 inches, I believe. Math is not my strong suit. Inch wide for the back, 1.5 inches for the front. Now if you want on the back, if you don't want your work to have visible stripes in the back, because what you're going to see when you're done is 1/2 inch strips in both directions. Now if you don't want to have 1/2 inch strips of a color like this, you can use the same fabric you used for your backing and make your back strips out of that, and you'll hardly even see them if you want to keep your whole back solid. Otherwise, use any color you want. Same thing for the front. So what you're going to do to start, you're going to take your inch strips. So we've got the folded front piece, which is folded, and you're going to take that and put it on the front of the piece on whatever side you're going to be sewing on, and make sure that the raw edges are all even up here, and you've got a folded edge over here. Okay, folded edge, raw edge. And then I'm going to lay that down. That's down with the folded edge, and I've got it. You want to be really accurate with this if you can. And then I'm going to take the 1-inch wide strip for the back, and I'm going to put it down right along that same edge. So you've got the folded edge here, the raw edge here, and on the back you've got right side down. Okay, and I'm going to sew right along here. And you stop every once in a while and make sure everything is lined up nicely. You don't want it too off at all. And I'm just going to cut off the excess here. I like to have a little extra just in case anything shifts while I'm sewing it. Okay, so then what I've got now is on the front, I've got this little flap with a finished folded edge here, and on the back I have this piece. Okay, so then I'm going to take the next back piece, and if I was making this thing where I wanted the pieces to butt up opposite what they were, I would take this back piece and I'm going to sew it right like this. So I'm sewing it like that. So I'm going, and make sure you do a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam here. Make sure you keep the edges all nice and even. Okay, now on your back, you've got this. You can see you've got a nice 1/2 inch colored strip in there. No edges visible, no stitching visible. And on the front, you've got what looks kind of like a bit of a mess, okay? You've got all your raw edges here, but if you sewed accurate 1/4 inch seams, these all butt together. So you've got a nice connection right in there where all your edges butt together. And then we're going to take this folded edge here and we're going to fold it over and we're going to stitch it down. I'm just going to sew this edge down, okay? Right close to that folded edge. And if you did this correctly, you should be covering up that seam you did to connect all the pieces in the back. So I'm just going to sew right along this folded edge. I sewed this seam right down here. This was already sewn down. Now if you want, and I like to do this, I will sew another row here even though it's already completely attached, just so it looks better. So I'm just going to run a stitch right down here, just so it's more uniform on both sides. So you've got this on the front. You've got stitching down both sides, and on the back it looks like this. So you've also got stitching, and this should be fairly accurate. If you sewed your first seams nice accurate 1/4 inch seams, you'll notice that this came out pretty good too. So it looks kind of the same on both sides. So I'm just going to sew another pair together like this. I'll do that real quickly. Okay, so I've got 2 squares done like this. And then I'm going to trim off any little extras here so we've got a nice straight even line to work on. That's good. I'm going to trim off this little piece here. And hopefully we've got these fairly even. And then I believe what I would do is sew them together like this. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same process on these pieces that I did on the little pieces. I'm going to take the longer piece of the folded fabric and I'm going to put it on the front across both pieces. And I think I'll put a few clips on this, and then I'm going to take the back piece right side down. So I've got them all sandwiched like this. Just going to put a couple clips in it to make sure we keep everything nicely lined up. Like so. Okay, now I'm just going to sew right down here, 1/4 inch seam, catching all these layers. That extra stuff. Get that out of my way. Alrighty. Then I'm going to take, let's see, make sure we've got this how we want it. I want it this way. This edge of the the inch wide piece from the back, I'm going to sew it to this other piece right like so. So it's going to get sewed right here. 1/4 inch seam down the edge. There we go. Cut that off. Cut that off. Now I'm just going to press this down, the front piece, just so we get it nice and completely opened up where we want it. Get a little steam on my glasses. Okay. And now I've got, the back has got its whole seam here with no nasty seam lines. And then the front has got all of your open edges here. I'm going to tuck those in, and I'm going to take this folded edge and bring it over and sew it down nice and closely to that edge. So we'll do that next. All right, then I sewed the other side here just so they both look the same. So I've got the front all connected together, the back is all connected together, and hopefully you'll line up your little seams a little bit better than I did, but this will give you an idea. And then as you go along, you would make as many and as wide and as long as you need to on this. And you can do a whole quilt like this, you can do placemats like this, you can do table runners, whatever you want. It works. So I hope that clarifies for you how to connect your quilt-as-you-go squares. Remember, you can also do this with any kind of a square that's already quilted and got your backing and batting and everything in place. If you've done some really nice free motion on smaller pieces or anything, you can use this technique for that too. And if you're doing a bigger piece, you would do all your pairs. You would pair up all your pieces in rows, and then you would sew the long strips together. You wouldn't need to make it in little squares like this and just make bigger squares. You would make it in long rows, whatever the length of it is. So I hope this helped some of you with clarifying how to do that. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if there's other videos you'd like to see us do, or other ones of our patterns that you'd like to see a video made of, please let us know, because we've got a big long list of ones we're going to do, but we can always change the order around. So have a look at tulipsquare.com, and I hope you guys all have a nice day and you do some good sewing and have fun. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.